morning and a very warm welcome. You are watching Janata Television and this is English Bulletin with me, Utsa Bhattrai. The top stories first. Prime Minister Oli says he has no time to criticize others, asserts that the government is busy in important matters. Nepali Congress to intensify protest against the government, cancels Central Committee meeting to focus on mass demonstration. Government prepares to reopen schools in Kathmandu Valley, classes to resume from January 15. Twitter bans Trump's account permanently, says Trump's tweets risk incitement of violence. And Liverpool beat Young Villa side 4-1 after first half scares. Sadio Mane scores twice for the Reds. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has said he has been too occupied to criticize others. Addressing a provincial mass meeting in Thangari, Kailali yesterday, Prime Minister Oli said that his government is concerned about the country's development rather than backbiting. Reiterating that government's primary target is the overall development of the country, Prime Minister Oli said the government has no free time to criticize others. Addressing the mass meeting, Prime Minister Oli said he has no interest or time to engage in war of words with the Dahal Nepal faction. Prime Minister Oli also labelled friends-turned-foes Pushpa Kamal Dahal and Madhav Kumar Nepal as deserters and requested everyone not to follow their path. Speaking on a different note, Prime Minister Oli said NCP is the People's Party. Targeting Lid Dahal and Nepal yet again, Prime Minister Oli said it will be insignificant if 265 people choose Dahal and Nepal among 30 million people. Prime Minister Oli also assured that the government is committed towards the development of the far western region. Nepali Congress has decided to intensify its protest against the government for dissolving the House of Representatives. The main opposition party is scheduled to hold demonstrations against the government in all election constituencies of the Provincial Assembly today. Nepali Congress has rejected the offer of Dahal Nepal faction to join them for mass protest. NC is organizing its protest programs alone, terming the government's move unconstitutional and undemocratic.
काम असंवैधानिक मात्र होइन, अनधिकृत पनि हो। हाम्रो संविधानमा बहुमत प्राप्त गरेको प्रधानमन्त्रीले संसद भङ्ग गर्न पाउने कुरा माथिदेखि तलसम्म, दायाँदेखि बायाँसम्म कहीँ लेखेकै छैन। यदि प्रधानमन्त्रीले संसद विघटन गर्न पाउँछ भनेर अदालतले भन्दियो भने यो प्रधानमन्त्रीले अदालत पनि विघटन गर्न पाउनुहुन्छ। संविधानमा नलेखेको कुरा कसले गर्न पाउँदैन? सार्वजनिक अधिकारीले गर्न पाउँदैन।
Due to the protest programs, Nepali Congress has postponed its Central Committee meeting scheduled for coming Monday by a week. NC Chief Secretary Krishna Prasad Paudel informed that the meeting has been fixed for January 19. Public and private schools in the valley will be gradually opening from 15th of January this month. Schools and educational institutions that have been shut due to coronavirus pandemic and the subsequent lockdown will recommence from January 15. Preparations are underway for conducting classes in physical presence. Most of the schools outside the valley have already opened since November in coordination with the local units. As per the suggestions made by the District COVID-19 Coordination Committee, schools and educational institutions can open after adopting certain public health protocols just like any other sector, informed Murthy Bhattrai, officer at Department of Education Department. There are 92 public schools and 645 private schools in the valley. This is Janata Bulletin. We'll be right back after a short break. And now, the news from economic front. Nepal Rashtra Bank has instructed banks and financial institutions to remain open today despite weekend holiday. The central bank issued such directive since today is the last Saturday before the second quarter of the current fiscal year ends. The banks have been instructed to open their branches and counters to support revenue collection of the government. The central bank issued a notice on Thursday instructing the BFIs and Nepal Clearing House to remain open for revenue collection. Nepal Rashtra Bank has said that the tax payment can be done at the branches and counters and also through electronic means using the real-time gross settlement system. Following the directive from the central bank, some banks have already issued notices saying that they will remain open today. And now, the international news. Twitter yesterday banned US President Donald Trump's account permanently. According to AP, the social networking site cited the risk of further incitement of violence following the deadly insurrection at the US Capitol on Wednesday as the reason for banning the account. Twitter has long given Trump and other world leaders broad exemptions from its rules against personal attacks, hate speech, and other behaviors. But in a detailed explanation posted on its blog Friday, the company said recent Trump tweets amounted to glorification of violence. Twitter also noted plans circulating online for future armed protests around the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden. The social platform has been undergoing pressure to take further actions against Trump following Wednesday's violence. On Wednesday, Facebook suspended Trump's account through January 20 and possibly indefinitely. You are watching Janata Bulletin, and now the latest from the world of sports. Aston Villa's young squad made valiant efforts to fight champions Liverpool, but were defeated 4-1 in the third round of FA Cup yesterday. Aston Villa's first team members had to be isolated after the confirmation of mass COVID outbreak among other players. The club then fielded a starting 11 composed of 7 under-23 players and 4 from the under-18s, BBC reported. Sadio Mane had secured an early 4th-minute goal for the champions. However, the young side remained resolute in defence for the rest of the half and cancelled the visitors' goal when 17-year-old Louis Barry equalised. Unfortunately for Villa, the youngsters tired and the Red exerted more pressure in the second half, scoring 3 goals in a 5-minute spell after the break. Jorginho Wijnaldum, Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah ensure Reds' progress and won the match. In another match, Wolverhampton Wanderers also defeated Crystal Palace 1-0. We are at the end of Janata Bulletin and the headlines once again. Prime Minister Oli says he has no time to criticize others, asserts that the government is busy in important matters. Nepali Congress to intensify protest against the government, cancels a central committee meeting to focus on mass demonstration. Government prepares to reopen schools in Kathmandu Valley, classes to resume from January 15. Twitter bans Trump's account permanently, says Trump's tweets can an incitement of violence. And Liverpool beat young Villa side 4-1 after first half scare. Sadio Mane scores twice for the Reds. And that's all from the English News Desk for today. You can follow Janata Television and our programs on various social media platforms, including on our website janatasamachar.com. Keep watching Janata Television. Namaste.